Another Ref says desu video.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And
Over
it's
here.
about Ubisoft. Yay! Our favorite enemy, Ubisoft. Yeah, Ubisoft is burning. It is an absolute shit show. Let's get into it. So Ubisoft is collapsing, and they deserve it. True and real.
So every couple of days, there's another round of news involving Ubisoft in one of their games, and you think it can't get any worse for that company. Well, today we have a very serious set of news.
I think the stock just went down again. Is what I've seen on Twitter. The stock just went down again, like a huge drop again.
Involving Ubisoft, and honestly, at this point, they have to have hit rock bottom. Like, it can't get any worse than this. And if you look at the stock, it's truly reflected by it. So over the past year, there's been a sharp decline in their stock. And over the past couple of days,
look at that drop. Look at that drop. God damn. That must hurt. Those poor investors. My favorite Metroid game is Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. I love the like the aesthetic with like the light and dark world. I love that it's like more Metroid Prime, just a lot more difficult. I love it.
another sharp decline that has prompted some of the investors who are already very disgruntled to claim that they have support of 10% of shareholders in the management tussle. So they are trying to mobilize and possibly force the sale of the
holy
company.
shit, Ubisoft.
Now, part of that is, of course, due to a very...
I predicted that. I predicted that. I absolutely predicted that. In my last ref video reaction, I absolutely predicted that they will delay this to 2025, and they did.
very serious set of news involving Assassin's Creed Shadows. It has been reported that Ubisoft is officially delaying the release of this game to February of 2025.
Yeah, his glasses, it's like...
So it turns out Assassin's Creed Shadows will not be the final
glasses are
flop
huge.
for
True.
Ubisoft in the year 2024. It'll actually be their first flop of 2025. Now, overall, this has been a big promise to shareholders. Assassin's Creed Shadows was something they were claiming was going to turn things around, and it's looking like the exact opposite. And recently, over the past couple...
You're excited for the new Assassin's Creed? I'm excited for it to fail.
couple of days, it has been a non-stop flurry of bad news for Ubisoft and in particular Assassin's Creed Shadows. So before we talk about the delay of this game, let's talk about what's happened over the past couple of days alone. So we begin...
They are so disrespectful to the Japanese, it is insane. It is insane how disrespectful they are to the Japanese people. It is crazy. Changing history, and the Japanese love their history. Stealing from One Piece. They basically took the design of Zoro's sword from One Piece and sold it as merchandise. It is absurd. It is absurd. I think they did another one with like a gate that was bombed in like World War II. It is absurd what they are doing here. It's like Concord 2. No, Sony has Concord 2, by the way, already. It's a heist game that tries to sell you anti-capitalist an anti-capitalist agenda by a company who needs a lot of money, which is funny. It's basically like an eat a rich type of game. It's just... Stop it.
with this right here. So Kazuma Hashimoto, who is a former Sweet Baby Inc. employee, he went to the New York Times and set up this terrible piece defending Assassin's Creed Shadows from criticism, where he claims that people in the West are the only ones angry about Yasuke being labeled as a samurai and also being...
Yeah, Western fans who made a specifically for Japanese YouTube an account dislike the video. Sure, buddy. Sure. And now he can't find a job because he is now associated with Sweet Baby Inc.
the placeholder of one of the two main protagonists of this game, and he also made the wild claim that most of the negative online comments are from Westerners LARPing as Japanese users, and they're translating their stuff from English to Japanese. And that is largely dispelled by many different things, but the easiest point of reference is the Ubisoft Japan trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows. You can see the Japanese side of YouTube is absolutely destroying this trailer.
Look at that like-dislike ratio. Look at that like-dislike ratio. It is even worse than on the Western version. It is insane. And look at the views. It's just 93k views and 12k dislikes.
That
Talk
has a
about getting
roughly
absolutely demolished.
98% dislike ratio. And only a day or so after that, we saw this post that has gotten a lot of attention. So translated from Japanese
another
to
one.
English, we can see this. Please spread the word. Assassin's Creed Shadows figures from Ubisoft, a famous Japanese hate and criminal company. A figurine of a destroyed Torii Gate has been released, which is believed to be based on the one-legged Torii Gate that was destroyed in the Nagasaki atomic bombing. I have never seen a one-legged Torii other.
Would I say Malice and Spite are similar? Yes, but no. Malice is like doing it because, like, out of evil. I would say Spite is more like an act of retaliation in a form, I would say. But look at this. This is disrespectful. A one-legged Torii Gate was destroyed in the Nagasaki atomic bombing. Used for Assassin's Creed. You cannot tell me that was an intelligent idea.
Other than the destroyed one by the American atomic bomb in Nagasaki. So it is alleged by these users and believed by many that the background of this merchandise is featuring this one-legged Torii Gate that was destroyed by the atomic bomb dropped on Nagasaki during World War II, which temporally is already a mistake because this is from the 20th century versus a game that's based in feudal Japan during the 1600s. On top of that, it's just outright offensive. A lot of people on the Japanese side of Twitter and just gamers in general from Japan are very...
This is what I mean with disrespectful. This is what I mean.
offended by this. They have a different culture when it comes to tragic events like this. I know a lot of people, especially Americans, can joke about tragic events like 9/11 and stuff like that, and most people won't be too offended by it. But when it comes to things like the bombs dropped on Japan...
I don't know, Rev. Twitter would disagree with that.
And during World War II, that is a very sensitive subject. If you bring that up, especially with merchandise like this, you are going to offend people in Japan, and this tweet was no different. On top of that, only about a day after that fiasco, Ubisoft announced that they're canceling press previews of Assassin's Creed Shadows. On top of those press previews that are canceled, they also announced that they're canceling their online participation in the Tokyo Game Show 2024, and this...
Deserved. Deserved. It's just deserved. Get fucked.
This is something that got a lot of attention. People were saying, wait a second, is something bigger going on here? Why are they canceling all these press previews? Well, we know the reason why now. So, yesterday it was announced in a bombshell that Assassin's Creed Shadows will now release in February of 2025, February 14th to be specific. Now, this is a pretty big deal. A lot of people are looking at this situation and saying, yeah.
Now, are they gonna fix things? I don't think so. I don't think they are gonna fix things. They probably just pushed it back to lift of the shitstorm that it is getting. But I don't think that they will change much or fix anything.
They're probably just stalling out at this point. Because of all the controversy surrounding this game, they literally just want to bury their heads in the sand and hope everyone forgets what happened over the past year and all the controversy surrounding this game and Ubisoft, and then they go out and buy it in February. Because really at this point, it can't get any worse, right? But let's read this statement from Ubisoft and the Assassin's Creed team saying, "Dear players, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a dream project for us, finally bringing the series to feudal Japan with many features developed within..."
Yeah, you bring the release to Japan, you change history, you lie, you lie with like obviously. I think they do. I think they do. I think they do. They do know that something is wrong. Because like with that much, like you see the criticism. People criticize this. They know what is wrong, but they refuse to fix it. It should have never been Yasuke in the first place as the main character. It should have been a Japanese man. You could have put Yasuke in a side quest, accurate to history. That nobody would have complained about that. I think he has been in Nihon as like a side character, as a playable character. Nobody complained about that.
With our community in mind, such as parkour or the renewed stealth, bought by new technology, all set in the beautiful and immersive world. This is an ambitious addition to the franchise, a rich experience that can be lived through the eyes of two unique protagonists, but we realize we need to focus more time to polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features. They go on
Like
to
for
say,
Star Wars Outlaw, they knew exactly what the problem was. They released an unfinished product. They released an unfinished product, and that is why Star Wars Outlaws also failed. Yeah, only racists, sexists, and homophobes, only phobes and ists criticize these games, of course.
as such, we've made the decision to postpone the release date to February 14th, 2025. The game will release on a broad range of platforms, including Steam, at launch. Additionally, pre-orders will be refunded, and all future pre-orders will be granted the first expansion for free. You know, they go yada yada, they go on, but you get the point. They are not only...
Wow, I get an additional DLC, a free DLC that was likely just cut content, let's be real. That was likely just cut content.
Pushing this to February. They're also announcing that they're going to launch this on a broader range of platforms.
I hate DLC. Most DLCs aren't that good. There are rare occasions where a DLC is good. Like Future Redeemed or the Elden Ring DLC.
Including Steam, which is something that they were not planning on doing, and it just shows that they are doing everything in their power to increase the number of sales and potential players that'll be there on release. Now, of course, the comment section is absolutely obliterating them, people making fun of them, but I think this right here is the funniest interaction. So Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows, they are hiding replies on this tweet, hiding the replies that clearly got under their skin, and this one in particular is the first one you see in the hidden replies, and it's just a complete mess. So this user says, just delay it further, nobody wants to play as a black dude killing Asians in feudal Japan. We see that enough in San Francisco. Brutal. And you can see it has 31,000 likes. It's ratioing the official post from Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows. And as always, these accounts not understanding how social media works, especially Twitter, you do not hide replies. That is the worst thing.
Yeah, right. You don't own the game, you buy it from Ubisoft. And remember, guys, if buying isn't owning, pirating isn't stealing. Hello, is it Baloch? Baloch? I don't know. Hello, how are you doing?
Thing you can do, it creates a separate tab where all the hidden replies are instantly viewable. It's basically like putting all these comments on a giant billboard and saying, this stuff got under our skin, please don't like this. And of course, people mocking Ubisoft are going to...
Oh, that comment is wild. Just delay it forever. No one wants to play as a black dude killing Asians in feudal Japan. We see that enough in San Francisco. Holy hell. Oh my god.
Now, a lot of people also looked at the timing of this announcement. The same day Ghost of Yotai was announced by PlayStation. This is obviously a successor to Ghost of Tsushima. And this game also not only threatens some of the success of Assassin's Creed Shadows, but also a lot of people have their own concerns about this game, mainly centering on the
Yeah, the gaming industry started horrible and it's ending horrible, apparently.
uh,
There is a video game crash coming. It is inevitable. That video game, we will have a second video game crash. That is coming. We will have a second ET, and I think Concord was that second ET. They will bury that somewhere in the desert.
person playing the main protagonist, Atsu here, played by the actress Erika Ishii. And a lot of people have been digging through her social media accounts, in particular her Twitter account, and they've been finding a lot of vitriol, a lot of very, let's just say, hyper political tweets, very aggressive stuff. And a lot of people are looking at her and saying she is nothing more than an activist. And to make matters worse, she's going around and blocking everyone on Twitter. I've seen many different people report that they have been blocked by her account, including a lot of critics of various gaming studios and what have you. And also, the former Sony head Sean Layden has come out in defense of her and this game, saying, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Which is some famous...
I mean, he's right. He's right. If you don't like it, don't buy it. He is 100% correct. And we won't if it's terrible. We won't. I don't know. I trust the Ghost of Tsushima creators. Now I know a big part of like the development team has changed, which does scare me. That does scare me a little bit. That is kind of scary. That is I agree. Ubisoft isn't what it used to be. Neither is PlayStation. Ever since PlayStation killed off Sony Japan, it is on a wild ride. Yeah, Concord was the definition of a boycott. Well, we can help. We can help Ubisoft. We can force them to not make bad games if we don't buy the games. That is how you win, basically. Dangerous statement of the Concord.
Last words we have heard many times before with other games that ended up flopping. This is like a ask and you shall receive. If you tell people not to buy your game, they won't buy it. This is like an open challenge. This is the worst thing you could ever say to people in response to criticism or concerns about the direction of this recently announced game. Now, of course, there's a lot more to go into here, and I won't dig too deep. This is probably a video for the next couple of days where we'll talk about...
Yeah, that video is coming. Apparently, there's a picture going around of, like, the entire development team of Ghost of Tsushima being mostly women now, which is funny, because that also happened to Bungie and Halo. And I'm not saying women can't make good games. That is a lie. That is an absolute lie. That would be wrong. Women can make amazing games and write amazing stories. But it's funny when these bad games release how the studio is literally diversified, basically. Yeah, just pirate. Either if you want to play them, pirate them. And if you don't want to play them, don't buy them. It's basically what this is.
But let's return to the other side of Ubisoft this year. They have two major AAA releases that they have ensured that they're to their shareholders that will succeed. One was Assassin's Creed Shadows. The other is Star Wars Outlaws that released about a month ago. And how are things going with that one? Ooh. Oh boy.
Ubisoft admits Star Wars Outlaws sales are softer than expected, as it slashes net expected bookings by 30%. Oh my god. Wow! High Guardian Spies with all-female team. Ah, yeah, I remember that.
Ubisoft admits Star Wars Outlaws sales softer than expected as it slashes net expected bookings by 30%. And you can see in that That Park Place article, they go into some detail here, basically saying,
why are gaming companies trying to scare off its customers, kind of trying to capitalize on them because money and game addiction, and now gaming companies are just being dicks? Because of agenda. It all comes down to agenda and funding. Remember, it's funding. DEI. They get funding for that. Remember Dustborn? That game was even funded by the European Union. That's how far this goes. At the end of the day, it's all just agenda. To push the modern audience that does not yet exist. They always talk about modern audience. That audience does not exist. They want to create that audience. That audience is being created right now. Women can make good games, but men can make good games too. But the problem is the company that resents the type of people like men. Seriously, men, the best way you can support equality is just to hire people by skill and not by their pronouns, or by their skin color, or by who they sleep with. It is very simple to make good games. Just make games that don't alienate your original player base. That is literally it. Just hire people by the content of their character and skill, and not because you're trying to fit some weird agenda. You love Valve because it's owned by one person and not a bunch of investors. That's also where it comes down to. Investors. That is all. A lot of these games are bad because they are not made by gamers. They are made by, like, corporate people. Somebody who does not play games does not understand what gamers want.
Things are going even worse than their already limited expectations for Star Wars Outlaws. In fact, it has been reported by True Trophies that only a month after release, Star Wars Outlaws is barely keeping in the top 40 in terms of sales for PlayStation. For PlayStation, not overall games. They can't even keep, they barely keep in the top 40 for PlayStation.
Look at that. Just look at that. Just look what they have done to Star Wars. There are so many good Star Wars games out there, and then you have this piece of shit.
To give you a reference, they're getting beaten out by Hogwarts Legacy, God of War Ragnarok, and Ghost of Tsushima, all three of which have released over a year ago. That is a really bad sign for this game in Ubisoft. It got so bad, in fact, that Ubisoft's CEO had to come out and clarify some things. Not only acknowledging that there was a huge failure of their quarter two, but also that apparently he needed to dispel the supposed rumors that there is some sort of an agenda being pushed by the company through their games, where he would go on to say,
"Enjoy your dinner.
Finally, let me address some of the polarized comments around Ubisoft lately. I want to reaffirm that we are an entertainment-first company creating games for the broadest possible audience, and our..."
That does not feel like it. That does not feel like it. And the wild part is, for this, they have a mentorship that is illegal because it specifically discriminates against men, specifically white heterosexual men. It is funny as hell. I wish somebody would sue them over this. You don't know much about Star Wars, but they made an alien instead of an ugly woman. That's also what I've noticed. Like, the uglification of women. I tolerate it more with stuff like Fable, because, like, Fable characters were never that pretty, and I'm not gonna like the new Fable, clearly, because it's not Fable to me. I like the cartoonish look of Fable, and that is not Fable to me.
Our goal is not to push any specific agenda. We remain committed to creating games for fans and players that everyone can enjoy.
Lying
Now, of
through your
course, this
teeth.
claim that they put the game quality first over agenda is something that can be disproven by just looking at their website. One of the first things Ubisoft wants you to know about them is that they have diversity, inclusion, and accessibility in their games. In fact, if you look at the content section of that, you can see
nobody cares. Make good games instead.
they say
you don't care about this stuff anyways. You just milk it for funding and money. That is the only reason. You don't want to support minorities. You want to exploit them. That is all you ever wanted.
Gaming experiences that push representation forward by embedding diversity and inclusion across our processes, increasing representation in our teams, and offering access to resources that help teams to build more authentic, inclusive, and accessible gaming experiences. That is clearly the top of their priorities when it comes to making games, and they want you to believe otherwise because they're getting desperate right now. In fact, we recently saw only about
Okay, so this is the thing for the mentorship program. I'll read this. To be eligible, you must identify as a woman or a non-binary individual. So men are out of the picture. Be 18 years or older, at least they have that one. Currently attend or have graduated in or after spring 2023. Have less than 2 years of professional experience in game design or programming in video games. Be legally entitled to work in the country where you are applying. Apply to only one location. Submit an individual entry. Teams entries will not be considered. Yeah. It is wild. The first sentence is wild.
2 weeks ago, a mentorship program at Ubisoft was revealed.
They're written
for over
badly.
4 years, they've had this program where only women and non-binary identifying individuals can apply. AKA, they exclude men from applying to this mentorship program. And overall, like with Assassin's Creed Shadows in the February release, it has been recently announced that Star Wars Outlaws will be coming to Steam as well in November. Now, for a long time,
you can already tell the modders are gonna have a field day with this. They're gonna make her hot.
Ubisoft has been kind of flicking their nose at Steam and trying to basically do their own thing, especially with PlayStation. But now they're desperately returning back to Steam early, too. Not just, at some point, very early on after the release of Star Wars Outlaws and with the actual release of Assassin's Creed Shadows in February to try to boost their sales because they are desperate. They are that desperate. They are immediately clinging on to Steam.
Yeah, they are sweating. The investors are sweating. Ubisoft is sweating. They're all sweating.
Get any new sales they can possibly get as soon as possible so they can say to the very worried shareholders that they're figuring things out, even if things look really, really bleak for the company right now. But overall, that's going to do it for this video. Ubisoft is genuinely in really big trouble. I mean, I don't know what's worse. Letting Assassin's Creed Shadows be the final bomb of the
Siege intensifies, true.
For Ubisoft, or delaying it so it's the first bomb of February in 2025. I mean, what feels better as a shareholder? You get nothing the rest of the year, no major titles, and then a eventual flop to start the year off? Or do you want to you basically rip the Band-Aid off and have the flop now? Who knows? It's all bad for Ubisoft, and that's their problem to deal with, and no one really feels sorry for them. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed.
There's not much thoughts to be shared. Let Ubisoft collapse. Let them burn to the ground if necessary, so that they learn.